Long before we had refrigerators or food science labs, our ancestors figured out one of nature's most incredible pieces of technology, fermentation. It's this living microbial process that does way more than just preserve food, it actually supercharges it.
It's a wild thought, isn't it? That a technique from the absolute dawn of civilization could be a secret weapon for our health today. We're about to see just how ancient wisdom is being proven right by modern science.
Okay, so first, let's just take a moment to appreciate how deep these roots really go. For thousands of years, people were using fermentation. They had no idea about the microscopic world making it happen. They just knew it worked. And what's so fascinating about this history is that it was all based on simple observation. For thousands of years, people just noticed that if you left cabbage in some salty water, it didn't rot. It turned into something new and delicious, and they saw real results. Captain Cook? That's a huge one. He famously gave his sailors sauerkraut on those long voyages to prevent scurvy, a truly deadly disease back then.
This quote just nails it, right? They weren't thinking about biochemistry. They were thinking about survival. They were thinking about feeling better. And these traditions got passed down for one simple reason. People could feel the difference in their health. But what was actually going on under the hood?
To really get why fermentation is such a game changer, first we have to talk about a fundamental problem with a lot of the healthy foods we eat. And this is a super important question for you personally. You can eat the greenest, most nutrient-packed salad on the planet, but if your body can't get to those nutrients, you're missing out. There's a huge difference between what's on your plate and what actually gets into your cells.
So picture plant cells as these little locked treasure chests. They're jam-packed with amazing stuff like minerals and vitamins, but they're protected. They have these tough cell walls made of cellulose, and even trickier, they have these compounds called anti-nutrients, like phytic acid, that literally grab onto minerals and stop your body from ever using them.
So the big question is, how do we get into those treasure chests? How do we pick the lock? Well, it turns out nature has already got a master key. This idea of pre-digestion is the whole secret. Seriously, fermentation is when these friendly little microbes do all the hard digestive work for you outside of your body. They break down the very things that are getting in your way. It's this really beautiful step-by-step process. First, the microbes just munch on the sugars in the food. As they do that, they produce all these powerful enzymes. Think of these enzymes like microscopic scissors. They snip apart those tough cell walls, and they take care of those annoying anti-nutrients. And boom, the result is that all those vitamins and minerals are finally unlocked, totally free for your body to soak up.
I love this way of thinking about it because it's so accurate. That jar of kimchi or sauerkraut on your shelf, it's basically an external stomach, preparing your food and making it way more valuable before it even hits your plate.
Okay, so ancient wisdom is cool and all, but let's talk hard data. What does modern science have to say about all this? Well, it turns out the top labs in the world are now proving what our ancestors figured out through experience.
Check this out. A really big study from Stanford, published in the journal Cell, gives us some of the best evidence we've seen yet. What they did was set up this head-to-head battle, a high-fiber diet versus a fermented food diet.
So it was pretty straightforward. Group 1, they just loaded up on all the traditional high-fiber foods, the usual suspects. Group 2, they went all in on fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, and kombucha. And the results? They were honestly pretty shocking.
First up, they looked at everyone's gut microbiome. And yeah, the high-fiber folks, they saw a little improvement. But the fermented food group, whoa, they had a massive increase in the diversity of their gut bacteria. And that diversity, that's like the #1 sign of a really healthy gut. But wait, it gets even better.
Get ready for this number, 19. The group eating fermented foods had a measurable drop in 19 different inflammatory proteins floating around their bodies. This tells us the benefits aren't just happening in the gut. It's about cooling down inflammation all over your body.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What is the big takeaway here? It really boils down to one super important word: bioavailability. Bioavailability is basically the bottom line when it comes to nutrition. I'm going to say it again. It is not what you eat, it's what you absorb. And fermentation, it's pretty much nature's most powerful tool for closing that gap.
And when you look at the numbers, they're just mind-blowing. We're talking about tripling the amount of iron you can get from plants, increasing your absorption of powerful antioxidants by more than 50%. And get this, the process actually creates new B vitamins that weren't even in the food to start with.
And here's what makes fermented foods so unique. They deliver the complete gut health package, the 3 Ps. You get probiotics, those are the live beneficial microbes. You get prebiotics, that's the food that nourishes those good gut bugs. And you get postbiotics. Now these are the real magic. They're the beneficial compounds that the microbes make during fermentation. It's a 3-for-1 super delivery system for your gut.
So there you have it. We've gone from our ancestors just observing that something worked, all the way to modern labs showing us exactly why it works on a molecular level. They stumbled on this profound nutritional secret by chance. So now that we have the science, the real question is for us, what are we going to do with this powerful, ancient technology to build our own future health?